Now, there are two ways I draw an eye. First, there's the smexy and the cute. To draw the cute, you need an oval shape. To draw the smexy, you need a damtangle. Yes, a damtangle. I know there's a mathematical name for it, but let's be honest, how many of us can pronounce that name without biting our tongue? Parallelogram. A parallelogram. A parallel. Starting with our smexy eyes, we're going to draw the damtangle, or parallelogram, or whatever you want to call it. Then we're going to reduce the opacity and add another layer. Now, in our second layer, we're going to add our first set of lash, first layer of lash. Make sure you put the curve on this part of the drawing. Then after that, we're going to add a line. Please just follow what you see on the screen, because I don't know what they call this. Then you add your iris. Make sure you blur it. Now we're drawing the eyebrows, the female and the male eyebrows. When I draw the female eye, I tend to put the second set of lashes up and below the eyes, while the male eyes, I only put it below the eyes. When you want to choose a dark skin tone, always choose between the red side of the hue or the orange side of the hue, and the rest is up to you. Now we've gotten our base color, which is our skin color. I'm going to add a layer on top and then clip it to the male eye folder. After that, I will choose a color of hue. I like to choose this particular color. Feel free to screenshot to get the color. After that, I would use it to color the eye. Then tap the folder and set it to multiply. So what I normally do when I want to color the whites of the eyes is I color it white at first. I pick out the color, I color it white. I either choose a grayish hue of the skin color, or I use a plain white, color it, reduce the opacity to 30%, then select the color that it gives you. After getting the color that it gives you, you press the undo button to get it back to white color, and then you have locked it, then you color it. Then you add a layer and tap multiply. Color the upper lid of the whites of the eye, then blur it and reduce the opacity. Now we're coloring the iris. Like I said before, make sure to blur it. Before you add another layer, after lock the iris, you select your base color, then add the layer, then clip it to your iris. What I normally do when I want to select my base color is that I use the center of the diamond thingy, I use the center of the diamond color wheel thingy, okay? The center one, I use it. So I decided to go for a wineish red as my base color. Now I'm selecting my clipped layer, then setting it to multiply, then shifting the hue and then color it. Just follow the way I color it. After you color it, you then blur it. Now you add another layer and set it to linear bond to add the purples. It might be too dark, so if it's just alright for you, you can leave it as it is, but if it's too dark, you reduce the opacity or change the blend mode to multiply. After the multiply or linear bond layer, you add another layer, then set it to screen. Then you put it like polka dots. The brush I use is depending on the brush you use. If you have a fade pen type of brush, I only use one brush to do this tutorial. So just to tell you that you don't need 1 billion brushes to make a great art. You can reduce the opacity of your brush in order to get that effect, that polka dot effect. So I decided to put the screen below the multiply slash or linear bond layer, and then I added another layer on top of the screen layer and set it to add. Then I did another round of polka dots, to give it more glow effect. Time to add the highlight. I added a layer, then set the layer to blend mode add, and then I choose a very light color and then I use it to create the highlight, setting the opacity to 100% to give me that shiny effect. After adding the highlight, I knew there was something missing, so I went back to my multiply slash linear bond layer, which is the second multiply layer, to darken the edges of the iris. Don't forget to blur it. Now that I'm done with the pupil, I add a layer to color the eyelashes. I choose the color that I want, then I color the eyelashes. Now to color the skin, I add a layer above the skin layer and I set it to multiply, then color the edges. Please follow what you see on the screen. When you're done shading those parts, you reduce the opacity to however you want. Then you add another layer and set it to screen. Reduce the opacity to however you like, and then color the upper part of the eyes and the down a part of the eyes the way I colored it. I don't know how to explain that. I'm sorry. Now you use the smudgy tool. Depending on which you want to do, you either smudge the multiply or the screen layer. So I choose to start with the screen layer and I smudge the edges. Then I went back and forth to the multiply layer and I was smudging. You'll be looking at the process as you're seeing on the screen. I was smudging. That's the next step. You smudge. You smudge and you blur. I don't know if I am the only one that does this, but sometimes I do not I do not go step by step with my drawing. Right now I want to change the hue of the eyelashes because I felt it was too bright, so I needed it to be a little bit more dim. So I went to the hue filter tool and I'm trying to just basically make it look good. Going back to our skin layer, we're smudging, blurring, reducing opacity. Yeah, the same process. Blurring the highlights, reducing the opacity. Just don't overdo it. Don't over blur, don't over smudge, and don't over reduce the opacity. Just make it right, just make it look good to your taste. Okay, I'm doing this to my taste, so do it to your taste. I wanted to give the eyes more depth and more contrast, so I tap the multiply layer and I select the hue from the multiply layer and then recolored it. You see what I'm trying to say in your screen, you see it. In order to give it more contrast and depth. Now it's time to color the eyebrows. So I go to the line art layer or the sketch layer because it's basically sketch line art layer, and I then reduce the opacity of the first eyebrow, and then I then make hair strokes. Please, I recommend you do not do what I did. Look at reference before you try and draw or replicate an eyebrow, because clearly I didn't use a reference when I was doing this. When you're done stroking the thing in, you go back to your eyebrow layer and color the brows. Then after coloring the brows, you visibilize the former eyebrow, the base eyebrow sketch thingy. Yeah. This is how I choose my light skin. If I'm drawing ways of character, this is how I choose my light skin. Please just observe. I can't explain. I mean, look at how he looks like a smexy vampire that is out to get your blood. Anyway, let's fix that real quick. Like the same method I used, I color it all white. Then after coloring it all white, I reduce the opacity, select the color, then color it back. Then it will give us our good results. Okay. And you see there, it's fixed. Look, it looks smexy now. It looks hot. Okay. Now I'm just applying my finishing touches. What I normally do is that I'll add up all the layers from the canvas, and then I'll go to the color, adjust color, filter tool, then I go to monologue. I already have a color that I use. Is like a light purplish pink, and then I set it to hue, then I reduce it to like 15% or 10%, then duplicate it, then set the duplicate to overlay, and also reduce it to either 15% or 10%. Then after that, for my final finishing touch, I then add up the layers again, then I go to the filter tool, and then I go to the filter tool, I go to the blush section, I then go to sharp glass sharp, just all these things that makes it sharp to make it look sharper, just so it to give the noise effects. I know ibis paints has their own noise effect, but I don't feel it. I've tried it doesn't work for me, so yeah. And that's it for the smexy eyes. Now over to the cute eye. The cute eye is the same step as the smexy eyes. I followed the shape. Make sure you put that corner right there and line. You put a line on top, you put another line on the bottom. Like I said, I like adding more lashes for the female above the eye and below the eye, and as for the males, I only put lashes below the eyes. It's just a stylistic choice. And the coloring process was also pretty much the same. I've already explained how I choose my lighter skin color through the smexy eyes. The coloring process is the same process as the smexy eyes. The only difference in the purple was that I used a different base color for I'm just going to put a picture to explain what I'm trying to say. And that was due to the fact that I didn't like the original color, so I used the hue filter tool to shift the color. Yeah, so that's it. Here is how they look like on a face. And that's how I draw an eye. Here is a mini tutorial from my sketchbook, and yes, there will be a sketchbook tour coming soon in the channel. If I didn't confuse you and I made you understand or gave you more enlightenment in drawing eyes, then make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and if you're interested in any of these products you see on screen, the link to my Redbubble is in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace, love, and God bless.